Hey everybody, it's Dr. Eric Balcash. We're back for episode 10 of the Thyroid Thursday series on the thyroid debacle. And all this stuff comes from part 3 of the book, The Thyroid Debacle, the book I wrote with Dr. Kelly Halderman. And essentially what we're doing in this short 10-part, and it's going to be probably one more part video series, is to give you an idea of the things that you can do to improve your thyroid physiology and improve your overall quality of life. And so we've talked about dietary fitness, sleep fitness, respiratory fitness, emotional fitness, physical fitness, habitual fitness, your environmental fitness, metabolic fitness last time, and today we're talking about genetic fitness. So what are your genes? Your genes are these structures in your cells that actually encode for the proteins, the enzymes, and really drive the production and function of the things that occur in the body. So critically important. And so what is genetic fitness? Well, genetic fitness is the ability of your genes, or the degree to which your genes can, your genetic expression can support your ability to adapt, survive, thrive, and survive. So what are genes? Well, we talked about those. And what's genetics? Genetics is the study of your genes, your genetic variation. Not everybody has the same gene composition. We all have a lot of the same genes, but there's some variations in some of those genes. We can call those variations polymorphisms, or single nucleotide polymorphisms. And that just means it's got a different structure than maybe what somebody else has. And that difference in the structure, or the variations in the structure of that gene, may influence how it functions. We have a term that's called epigenetics, and epigenetics is a term that relates to how the gene expresses itself based on a number of factors: our diet, our environment, organisms, lifestyle. All of these things can influence how your genes express themselves. So why is this important? Well, everybody's born with a set of genes. There's not much you're going to do about that, but we can influence how those genes express themselves by what we eat, the organisms in our physiology, our diet, our lifestyle, our environment. So the better job you do raising your level of fitness in each of these categories is going to help you raise your genetic fitness. What we can't do is change the genes, but we can influence how they work and function. Now, there is a whole bunch of people out there that are producing these things called genetic reports. So essentially you give them a sample and they do a mapping of your genes and then send you back a report. And then some of these reporting systems are pretty hokey. They're kind of bull. And some are really done pretty well. And the issue is with these genetic reports is there could be so much data there, and there could be so much inappropriate information there that if you don't really understand what's going on with these things, you can really go down a rabbit hole, and you can wind up doing a bunch of things that you really don't need to do. I mean, when you look at some of these genetic reports, they're really sales tools for somebody selling supplements. They'll say, if you have this genetic expression, you're going to have this problem, therefore you need to take this supplement. Or if you have this genetic expression, you need B6. If you have this genetic expression, you're going to need extra B9. And they don't really know that. I mean, they don't know that because of your genetic expression, you're going to need more of a micronutrient or a vitamin. Why is that? Because you could have a gene with a polymorphism, a variation of the composition of the gene, and even though it's not the normal, or what we call the wild type, it doesn't mean that gene isn't going to express itself well. And you can have a gene that is the wild type, that doesn't have any alterations or variations or what we call polymorphisms, and it doesn't function well. And the biggest thing that you can do is to impact how the gene expresses. You can't change your gene, but you can influence the expression. And what's important is not just taking more supplements. More supplements often doesn't change the genetic expression. It's a lot of the other lifestyle factors that you have a bigger influence on have a bigger impact on how your genes express. So your genetic fitness is going to really be based on the quality of life and lifestyle and your diet and your environment. So do your best to improve those things, and you're going to have an improved genetic expression. Should you buy a genetic report? Well, that's up to you. It's a personal decision. There are some really good companies that I think do a pretty good job with it. And there's some people that do a really good job talking about the genetic expression and what you can do to improve your health and quality of life. And then there's some bad actors out there in the industry as well, that their only job is to sell you this report that really doesn't mean much of anything and sell you a bunch of supplements based on their report. So be careful, buyer beware. If you want more information on genes and genetic expression, one of my dear friends, Dr. Ben Lynch, wrote a book called Dirty Genes. He really gets into this whole idea of improving your genetic expression. He calls it soak and scrub to clean up your dirty genes. So our diet, our lifestyle, our environment dirties the genes. It impacts their expression, whether you have polymorphism or not. And in this book, he takes some of the more common genes that can create problems based on them being dirty, and tells you how to improve their function by cleaning them up. And how do you clean them up? By improving your diet, your lifestyle, your environment, all the things we talk about in the thyroid debacle, that things that for the most part you can do on your own. Ben does a great job. Obviously, he takes that aspect of it and blows it into a whole book, and we have it in just one part of the book. So if you wanted to learn more about some specific genes and how to clean them up, and really what he talks about in the book isn't just specific to these genes. He gets in depth with a few of them, but all the things he talks about in the book improve the expression of all your genes for the most part. So what do you do for part 10, how to improve your genetic expression? Listen, do all the things I've been talking about so far to improve your fitness factors. If you do those things, you're going to improve your genetic expression. Okay, super simple. You don't need to go out and buy a genetic report. I wouldn't advise you buying a genetic report unless you're going to put a lot of time and effort into it, or you can work with somebody who's going to put a lot of time and effort into it. In my practice, I definitely have spent a lot of time looking at genes and polymorphisms and working with people with these genetic reports. But it's not a place to start. Oftentimes it's a finishing point place. So we've got so much to do when somebody's got a chronic health issues. Worrying about which gene polymorphism is probably not the place to start. For us, it's not the place to start for you. All right, so this was part 10 on ways to improve your thyroid physiology and your health overall. All of these things are discussed in my book with Dr. Kelly Halderman, The Thyroid Debacle. So go out and get your copy today. If you do get your copy, read the book and then give us a review on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. Reach out to me on Instagram and let me know what you think. All right, take care.